talk about our first quarterback sleeper, and I'm going to kick us off. It's Jordan Love, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. It's time to play a game. Welcome to Gabe's Guessing Game. Okay, Jacob, question for you today. Since the year 2000, by the way, this is according to a CBS Sports article that I read just a couple of days ago, and I thought it was a really interesting stat. Plus, Jordan Love was my guy, so that's why we're talking about it. Since the year 2000, Jacob, there have been 25 quarterbacks that have sat before getting to play an NFL game. And there's a little bit of context, and I'm not going to be really good at explaining it. But for starters, there have been a number of quarterbacks that have sat until year 2 to get a starting chance. There have been quarterbacks that have sat until year 3 to get a starting chance. And quarterbacks that have even sat up to 4 years max before getting their chance to lead their team at the front of the offensive line at the quarterback position. So I looked at these, and there have been 25 quarterbacks who have found themselves in this scenario. All right. I'm going to read some names off to you, Jacob. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Your quiz really doesn't start until the very end, so I don't know why I did it so early. But
no worries.
It's okay. Quarterbacks that have not started an NFL game, and this is with context, right? Because Jordan Love has started a game. He came in last year, I guess.
Yeah,
but whatever.
I would say
I mean.
became a starter.
Yes, became a starter. Very good. Year 2 quarterbacks. Carson Palmer. You know what? Before my time as a fantasy player, really, but from what I remember, fantasy relevant.
But good NFL player, too.
Michael Vick. The current greatest quarterback of all time, Patrick Mahomes.
Wait, what?
Patrick Mahomes sat for a year behind Alex Smith. Didn't start till year 2.
Okay, you mean the best quarterback in the league, not the greatest quarterback of all time.
Of our generation, dude. Of our generation. Come on. All right. Let's not get into that battle today.
Brady is our generation.
I don't know, man. He's not a millennial.
No,
Mahomes is a millennial.
Brady, but it's okay.
All right. Drew Brees. I threw in Jacoby Brissett because he helps my final argument. He was a starter for a little bit, a season there with Indianapolis because of Andrew Luck, whatever. Tom Brady, who we were just talking about, and Colin Kaepernick. All fantasy relevant players. Let's move on to year 3 players. Players that did not get a chance to start for their franchises as a certified starter to year 3. Phillip Rivers. Pretty good quarterback for fantasy for a number of years. Tony Romo. Pretty good quarterback for fantasy for a number of years. That was it for year 3. Let's move on to year 4. I threw Jimmy G in there just because I thought it was funny. A lot of people don't think he's fantasy relevant. I mean, he's a quarterback, so in super flex leagues, sure, he's relevant. But I can see how, in a redraft.
I mean, Brissett was never.
You know what, Jacob? You're not helping the stat. All right, hold on.
But anyway, go ahead.
Matt Schaub had some days with the Texans there. Kirk Cousins, current NFL quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings. And, of course, here's my last one, Jacob. What is the only other player who has sat out until their 4th year to be a starting quarterback in the NFL? And they are a current beast player. You just raise your hand when you got the answer. All right, here's a hint. He was recently traded. Come on, Jacob.
Wait, recently traded?
Recently traded.
Oh, duh, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. And who is taking over for Aaron Rodgers? Jordan Love, new quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. Now, listen, there were obviously some names that I left out because either I didn't know who they were or I knew for sure that they weren't fantasy relevant players. But in total, that was 13 relevant guys out of 25. That makes 52% since the year 2000 that we have had players that have sat behind someone else before getting their chance at leading a franchise to a Super Bowl. And that is 52% chance that leans towards Jordan Love for me. Not to mention, let's throw in a few quid bits there. Established running backs. You've been a big fan of A.J. Dillon for a number of years now. And they also have Aaron Jones. I don't think that they're going to let Jordan Love come out here and just sling the ball 35 times a game. But I still think he's going to be put in a position to where he's efficient. And that's what we want him to be. And that's going to help with guys like Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon in the back field, taking off some of the workload for Jordan Love. Also, when you talk about wide receivers, he's got a nice young core to build a rapport with. We're talking about guys like Christian Watson, Jordan Reed, or Jaden Reed, and Romeo Doubs. Last but not least, despite what some people may say, I think Matt LaFleur is a good NFL coach, mainly because if you can put up with Aaron Rodgers for 2+ years, then you're a good coach. And that's why I think, because of those reasons, and they may not be the best, Jordan Love is set to be fantasy relevant in 2023. And while you give me your thoughts, I forgot the most important stat, but what are your thoughts? And feel free to bring up what we were talking about before the show.
Well, so first of all, I just want to say, Aaron Rodgers is the obvious answer. Like, he's a poster boy of the guy who sat and then became an NFL legend, right? Arguably a top 5 quarterback of all time. And then Patrick Mahomes, right, did it again, right? They're the two prime examples. So, like, for some reason in my head, I thought you already mentioned Aaron Rodgers, so I wasn't even going to guess him. But, like, when you said recently traded, I'm like, oh, so it must be Aaron Rodgers. But I blanked on that a little bit, because him and Mahomes are literally the poster boys for this topic. But no, look, I am coming around on Jordan Love. I wasn't super high on him, to be honest, but once I knew Rodgers was traded, I wasn't like, we'll see, but I'm starting to come around on it a little bit more. I just think that it's not necessarily a bad thing. Look, it doesn't work for every quarterback, right? We've seen situations where, like, ooh, see, I'm already getting crap for the Chargers hat. Look, not at home right now, had limited hat choices. So, it's the only football hat I have with me right now. But not gonna lie, I am, I think everybody has it, another team that they root for secretly, right?
I didn't mean to put that out there to get you off topic, Jacob. Stay on topic.
But really quick, but mine, the only rules are they can't be a divisional rival. Okay, that is the only rule. So for me, and it can't be like I can't be a fan of the Eagles. Like, that's disgusting. But so I choose an AFC team, the Chargers. They're from SoCal. I'm from SoCal. I love Justin Herbert. The 49ers can't ever figure out their quarterback situation. They haven't had a franchise quarterback in decades, since Steve Young. So I'm rooting for the Chargers and Justin Herbert. Anyways, back to this topic. Look, Justin Herbert, example. He didn't sit. He was great right away. Trey Lance, 49ers are trying, they're like, let's redshirt him. Let's do the Patrick Mahomes treatment for him. Didn't work. So I think it would have benefited Trey Lance to just come in and start right away. But there are situations like this where Jordan Love is going to sit, and it could possibly benefit him. We literally have seen it happen with this franchise. Like, they went from legend to legend, Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's unheard of. Like, the Chiefs, like, Alex Smith was playing really well for the Chiefs, and they transitioned to Patrick Mahomes, and it worked out fantastically. Not saying Alex Smith was a legend, but they went from one successful quarterback to another immediately. And so it's very possible, even though the Packers had a down year last year. I mean, they barely missed the playoffs, got knocked out by the Lions at the end of the year, which was awesome. But Aaron Rodgers had a down year, which is fine. You can't take away all the greatness and success he's had so far. And they're transitioning to Jordan Love. Now, I don't know because Green Bay has been kind of a circus the past 2 years with Aaron Rodgers and all of the drama going on there, right? So I don't know, was he actually mentoring Jordan Love? But I do think it comes down to it when you're in the quarterback room, when you're talking about all the things that go into being a quarterback. I highly doubt that Aaron Rodgers was like holding out on him and not mentoring him. I I listened to a lot of Aaron Rodgers interviews in the past 2 years, and like even though he was kind of you know butthurt about them drafting Jordan Love in the first place, he would say things like he would never blame Jordan Love though. He would say things like, "I love Jordan," and no pun intended, he loves Jordan Love, but he would say things like that, and nobody asked him to say that. Like, how do you feel about Jordan Love? He would just say it when he's talking. So I think that Matt LaFleur, great offensive mind. Wait, it's Matt LaFleur, right?
You're correct.
Okay, because there's more. There's another LaFleur. Okay, Matt LaFleur, great offensive mind. Again, from that Shanahan tree, and mentored by Aaron Rodgers, and like this could be a recipe that leads to someone being very successful. That their team is actually really good. Their defense is really good. Their running
Yes.
backs are really good. We have emerging wide receivers. I mean, Christian Watson is a potential superstar. Romeo Dobbs is pretty solid. And they got a couple other guys there that can help carry the load. They drafted 2 tight ends. Like, we'll see. It's not a bad situation.
It's not a bad situation at all. And for starters, I do want to say this with a grain of salt. One of my biggest kind of like go to, like when I'm drafting, one of my biggest like thought process moments are I want guys, especially in redraft leagues, I want guys who have done it before. But listen, Jordan Love is currently being taken in the 15th round. That's a dart throw. Grab your guy, reach for your guy that you think is going to actually perform to the standards, and then take a shot on a guy like Jordan Love as your second quarterback. If you're really confident, I would say I'm really confident, but I just can't validate myself taking him over guys like Derek Carr, who I think is also going to have a really great year. I can't validate myself taking him over Aaron Rodgers. So right now, according to NFC, he's the 20th quarterback off the board. And really, the only guys that I would consider taking him over that are ahead of him currently are Anthony Richardson, which, again, high upside play. He's quarterback 18 currently right now. I would consider taking him over Jared Goff, Daniel Jones, and Geno Smith. That only puts him in like that QB 17, 16 range. So again, with a grain of salt, Jordan Love is a sleeper who you can take a chance on way later in your drafts. You're not reaching for him. He's going to be there. He might even be on the waiver wire to start.
QB 21, but yeah.
So with that being said, Jordan Love is going to have a fantasy relevant year. Take it or leave it. Give us your thoughts. Feel free to like and subscribe. We appreciate
I will
it.
say